Well, we're back to school, and that means it's back to softball, at least for fall ball. And someone asked me to do a video, and I thought I would share it publicly. And this is, you have your pregame with your fellow officials, but maybe you have a vehicle pregame, or all the things that you should have at the ready if you're prepared to umpire a softball tournament. This is less important when you're doing a one-off, maybe a high school game. But I'm going to go through all the things that I have so that I get ready for the day. Now, first and foremost, I had this ready before I set up, although it's a cinch to set up. I recommend, this is a Sportsbrella, hits right to your hitch, and it actually rotates, as you can see. You saw it slide a little bit. That's because I did not put the pin in, because I wanted to show you how it rotates, but then you can fix it in any position. Also, make sure you have a mat. The mat's important because if you're parked somewhere where it's grass, mud, gravel, and you need to change your socks or what have you, a mat is important. Okay, here we go. So, first and foremost, before I get into the particulars, I want to stress the importance of redundancy. And you'll see in a moment why that's important. Okay, first and foremost, I've got my library, okay? A rule book, case book, umpire manual, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's USSSA, whether it's softball, have them all, okay? Important to have the rule books, all right? What do you need when you walk onto the field? You may need a challenge coin. Have extras, all right? You don't want to be flipping a USA coin at a U-Trip tournament, vice versa. I myself when it's time to get ready in the morning, I like to have some tunes playing. So a little Bluetooth speaker is ideal, all right? When you walk onto the field, you might need a challenge coin. You definitely are going to need a plate brush. That one hasn't even been used. You'll notice I've got plenty, all right? You never want to have one of anything. I have the batteries. Why do I have so many batteries? Because if the battery goes dead in any one of my timers, I need to be able to swap it out, whether it's 9-volt, whether it's, AAA. Speaking of timers, okay, you're going to see multiple timers in there. Game timer, pitch timer, between inning timer, that sort of thing. All right, indicators. Again, have more than one. This is the one I use. I highly recommend it. It's a little heavy. It's a little expensive. You can feel rather than look at the indicator to read it. So your eyes aren't glued to an indicator. I like that. The other kind of indicators, frankly, the only reason I have them is if someone I'm working with, there's busts, you need a new one, what have you. Okay. If you're doing a tournament and you want to leave your key hidden, many people lock it, they'll put it in the mailbox, the gas tank, or they'll hide it under somewhere. It's good to have one of these guys. This is an RFID sleeve. It makes it so that your key can't be read, because many vehicles, if it's on your person or close to the handle, you go to open the door, it will unlock. That's the case in my truck, so that's why I have this guy, to make sure that someone can't just walk up and open up the door, even if the key is hidden. All right. Another timer. You'll have some Band-Aids. That's important to have. All right. Got to have pens. All right. Plenty of them. All right. You don't want your pen to run out and find out. You got to borrow one. Sunscreen. Very, very important that you have sunscreen. You'll notice I have more than one. I have more than one of everything. But why do I have more than as many sunscreens as I do? Well, in this particular case, I'm just coming off the summer, and, I'll go to the beach, I'll forget it, and I'll end up having to buy it. And sure enough, I end up with 15 sunscreens. That's not typical for me, except for the end of the summer. Again, always have more than one. That is key. All right. You never want to run out of something. When something runs out, you go to your backup and you throw it away and you replace it. That way you never find yourself in that position. All right. Look at what happened to me today. You might be able to see it's a little watery down there. Why? Because when I opened up my drawer, this guy was loose, and all the sunscreen came out. I had just emptied a refill cartridge in there too, so that's going to waste. If I was starting a Saturday afternoon on a weekend, and that's the only sunscreen I had, I'd be out of luck. That's why you have more than one. Okay. Might seem a little ridiculous. Little flashlight. Why on earth do you need a flashlight? If you're doing a night game, it's under the lights, you go back to your truck, you're trying to get ready, everybody's in a rush to get out. Sure enough, they turn the lights off and you can't see anything. You can't even find your car keys. Yes, that's happened to me. Okay? So is that everything in this drawer here? I think it is. Okay. Timers, by the way, I don't want to belabor the point with the batteries. I go through a lot of batteries. I don't know why. That's very important. Also, I have more than one timer. Okay, the big guy there, the little guy there. Lineup holders. I've got this guy, and I've got this guy. All right, I've got two different styles. Really depends on what game I'm doing. I'm going to have to actually clean out because the sunscreen wandered through. Darn it. Well, that's why we do this. Okay, the vehicle pregame. Now we have hats. All the different hats for the different ones I do. You'll notice, okay, I don't have just one hat. I have multiple hats for each organization that has their custom hat or different style. You never know what's going to go wrong. All right. Baseball, softball, or I think I had that reverse. That's important. Gloves. If you're doing fall ball or it's the beginning of the spring, your hands will be cold. Nothing works better than black golf gloves. All right. Keeps your hands warm. And at the same time, you don't have to worry about not being able to flip the indicator or people being able to see the count. All right. So I recommend that. Got a little drawer here for a little compartment for all my cleaning supplies. I use a car wash mitt for my shoes. Nice and soft on one side, a little rough on the other. The lid to the bottle, the water bottle's down there. Also, no matter where you are with space, you gotta make room for spare shoelaces. All right, you're on a break. It's time for you to get dressed. You're getting onto the plate. Boom, your laces burst or snap, excuse me, and now you're in big trouble. Okay, always be prepared. You'll notice I got more than one pair just in case. Trash bags. I always like to make sure that you leave places as you found them. Coffee cups and what have you. You accumulate some trash. I don't have to point out water. All right, plenty of it. Make sure this is stocked. There's a compartment behind there that when the water gets maybe half full, I might pull some from the back. I use that for storage for stuff that I don't very rarely use. Okay, next drawer. Actually, before I close this, I'm going to use this, and not to belabor the point, you'll notice I have two of them. Okay, so moving to this drawer here. All right, we've got Invisible foot powder, Arm & Hammer. Highly recommend it. All right, it's basically like putting talcum powder on your feet, but it's in spray form. It's talc free. I know that's a big thing these days. I'm not terribly sure why. I think there was some harm from the more traditional style, but you know what, I just realized something. My books might be damaged. I'm gonna have to look into that. It doesn't look like it got there so far. Maybe it did. All right, so something to think about. Maybe I'll put a washcloth or something down there. Okay, Next, over on this side, what do you got? Foot powder, Mando whole body deodorant. Just picked up that. Not really sure if that's all that important. Little Lysol bottles. That's important to have. You know, you want to spray down the stuff that smells real nasty at the end of a hot day. Yes, I've got two bug things. I actually put the date that I opened it or first used it on there. Not sure why. I also put blue tape and an X to note that that is my backup, so I don't use that. I don't use the backup until the primary is gone. Even right down to the Shout and Tide pen in case we go out after and things, you know, you get something on you. Hand sanitizer, always good to have on hand. No pun intended. All right. I really am a big proponent of having something for lip protection. I myself have a problem. My lips burn very easily, so I like to have, you know, an SPF lip balm. I've got plenty. What do I have over here? What do you know? Another flashlight. Can never have one of anything. In case that battery goes bad, how am I going to change the battery, find the battery if I don't have any light? I mean, literally, you got to duplicate everything. All right. I'm a contact lens wearer, so I always like to have a spare set of contacts and solution. You're not kidding. There are two of them. Okay. I used to grab, you know, to say a handful is exaggerating, but not by much. What you see here is ibuprofen and potassium pills, and I used to actually grab some like candy and throw them in there. I've since learned that too much Advil is actually bad for your liver, your kidney. I forget which. So I think I'll take that a little bit more sparingly. Now, you saw all the water, but water will only go so far, okay? You need to have something like a Gatorade. I'm not a fan of Gatorade, but a little additive like Liquid IV. I'm a big fan of Liquid IV. I think it's great. I use it at a much lower concentration than most people, but that's just me. I also like to have some snacks on hand. Probably not good to have the ingestibles and the chemicals next to each other. Maybe I'll rethink that. Snacks, you know, something like a Cliff Bar is good. You want to stay away from that concession junk. And I think that covers that section there. All right. This is not something to go cheap on. Okay. This Yeti, I think it's a gallon. Might be a half gallon, but I'm pretty sure it's a gallon. All right. That guy is worth his weight in gold. Okay. That will, if you ice it the night before, or even put it in a freezer, if you have the ability of doing that. But if you're traveling, you fill it with ice in the morning, you empty the ice, and then you refill it with fresh ice. That thing will last you all day, even on a scorcher. Okay. Below that, you'll see various ball bags. I've got the, you know, blue and black. You know, some have the organization name on them, some don't. All right. Shoes. All right. Shoe horn. No reason to have two of those. Well, I mean, I guess one could potentially break, but regardless. I like to spray a little foot powder in there. I don't put them away unless they're clean. You'll regret it. And, you know, it's easy to just want to get out of Dodge, but, you know, try to clean them before you put them away. That's key. All right. Now, moving to the last but not least section, the things that you would expect. You're looking at your shin pads. I put my chest protector down, shin pads on top, and I got my mask. Yeah, I'm not kidding. You even got 2 cups. I'm actually a big fan of the Nutty Buddy. If you haven't heard of that, check them out. But I have more of a traditional style cup as well. And I think that covers it. Did I forget anything? I don't think I did. All right, so hopefully this gives you an idea of all the things that are advisable to have, especially if you're doing tournaments where it's one game, one right after the other. As far as this guy goes, you would be shocked how many parents walk by and ask about this Sportbrella. All right. If you don't have a hitch to plug it into and you want something similar, there's something called a Wonder Shade. Basically a tripod, does the same thing. I recommend that. I did have that at one point. Okay. I hope this is helpful as to all the things that will be that are helpful to have. People don't think about having extra shoelaces, extra sunscreen, or even stuff for your lips. The snacks, everything here. The flashlight. Why do I have this? It's not because I'm insightful. It's because one day I got locked. I got locked out of my truck. Took me a long time to find my key because the lights went out and I wasn't even undressed yet and I was trying to change stuff. So hopefully this is helpful. Enjoy fall ball. Enjoy back to school. You have a great day and a great fall season.